Say, John Anderson of Yes, what is that music playing in the background during this interview?
I can't hear it for you talking.
Oh.
You mean that?
Yes, that.
Over there?
Over there.
Yes, that's some music that I recorded just last summer. It's hopefully going to be released sometime this summer. It's very sweet. It's every day I get up in the house and just make music on my keyboards. And after compiling maybe 70 different styles, I decided to put an album together, which is sort of a new age music with a little bit of Indian wisdom from a friend of mine who's a beautiful Indian person. And that should come out sometime later this year.
But that is not the album we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to preview and premiere the brand new John Anderson solo album on Columbia. And what's the name of this album, John?
It's called The City of Angels, Ed.
Now, could that be because you recorded it in Los Angeles, California?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It came to me in a sort of flash. One late night, I said, maybe I should call it In the City of Angels, because here I am in the City of Angels.
I know people ask you, are you're working with Vangelis on this album? Is not with Vangelis, is it?
No, this is with a lot of very fine people in Los Angeles. I decided to get together with a really good producer, Stuart Levine, and he kind of introduced me to the scene in Los Angeles. You know, the Lamont Dozier was a great get-together. We got together, wrote 3 songs. And
people would think that very unlikely, I guess, right?
In some ways, it takes me back to the beginning of my career, where I would sing 4 top songs and Motown songs with my first group, the Electric Warriors.
The Electric Warriors?
I call it the Electric Warriors now.
The Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors. We used to worry. We used to worry so much. No, we were called the Warriors, but we were first called the Electric Warriors. But people thought it was a bit long.
Well, it just, yeah.
Anyway, shall I introduce some of the album?
Yeah, please do. What is? Do you know the order now? We're doing,
I think, we have
it all set.
It's all organized. Okay. Here it is.
So what's the first track?
The first song is a Dozier Anderson song, Lamont Dozier, Mr. Motown. And we did a funky song called Hold On to Love. And it's sort of very up, sort of fun song, you know. I think everybody who listens to it just finishes it with a smile on their face, which is a nice energy, you know. The second song on the first side is something that I wrote a couple of years ago in London. It's a song called If It Wasn't for Love. The moon would disappear, the seas would crash into the land, the sun would not appear, and tears would flow upon the sand if it wasn't for love. That kind of thing. It's a sort of reggae. The third song is called Sun Dancing. It's very Latin American.
What is it?
Sun Dancing.
Sun Dancing.
Yeah. It's this little story about how the 4 laws are coming to this planet again. They're returning after 5,000 years. And these 4 new laws will show us the insight to space travel, a little bit more insight into looking after our planet Earth. And these are Hopi prophecies, all rolled into a song. And I enjoyed making that song. It was a lot of fun. Actually, when I did the demo, I'd been staying in a house in Los Angeles that did have a spirit in there, and I didn't really get off on the idea of staying in that house. So I stayed there for one night with my son Damien, and we kind of ran out in the morning because it was a sort of not a great feeling in the house, right? And we went back to the hotel, and I wrote this song straight away, set up my equipment, and wrote this song, Sun Dancing. Is It Me is a song that it relates to a sort of romance, how sometimes you can fall in and out of love, And who's to say who is wrong or who is right, you know? And I think the refrain at the end spells out the song that I can't believe in love without you. That's the main essence of the idea of the song. In a Lifetime is a song that I wrote with Lamont Dozier. In fact, that afternoon that I met Lamont, we wrote 4 songs together. Just for a couple of hours. We sat down. He starts playing the piano, and it's like heaven. I got to tell you, he sounds just Motown. It just oozes out of him. This is a sort of song, a ballad, you know? Like, I imagine like standing under a lamppost with 3 or 4 guys singing it, you know, like a kind of street corner kind of song. But it's been very well produced. I really enjoy the production on it. It's a lot of fun. And the last song on the first side is something that I did with David Page from Toto. Again, I kind of went along to his studio and we got on very well. And the joy of making music with someone like David is that we just start the tape and just do it. You know, it took maybe an hour to actually record this. It was a lot of fun and a very simple song.
Yeah.
Not just songs, but ideas. So I've got tapes and tapes and tapes of musical ideas as well as songs. But it's good to get together with someone and feed off each other and come to something that without each other we wouldn't have found, you know?
So it's quicker. Is it quicker?
Not really.
Huh.
It's just the way it is. It's sometimes, you know, it's just different. You're working with different people. I sometimes enjoy more that sort of camaraderie of working with other people. Because, you know, you're working on your own and sometimes you're thinking, oh, this really sounds good, and you wake up in the morning and it sounds terrible. Or not good enough, you know. But
Forgettable.
Forgettable.
Or
Forgettable. Anything. Anyway, the feeling with David Page was very strong. And working with Toto, they helped me on the album immensely on these tracks that we recorded at David Page's house. The second side, it starts with a song called New Civilization, which again is sort of a Latin feel and a lot of kids singing along and a big brass section. And it's a lot of fun. It's very up-tempo, very danceable. It'll be great for stage if I ever get the chance to do a tour with this album, and I look forward to that very much. This song that comes is a song called It's on Fire, and I wrote this song with Don Freeman, and Don is a real character. He's actually from Philadelphia. He's a really great keyboard player, a good songwriter. He's about 7'10". He's a very big guy. I mean, me and him together look really ridiculous. I mean, we look silly on our own, but together we look so silly. But we get on very well, and we ate a lot of pizza. I know we did tend to overdo the pizza. But we wrote New Civilization together, and we wrote It's on Fire together. And boy, he's a very, very Philadelphian guy. I mean, this guy, he tells jokes all the time. His whole life is one joke, you know. He's a good guy. This next song is a very funky song. It's probably the rhythm and blues funk, part of my past again coming through. And it's a song called Betcha. Bet you never thought you'd make it, you know. And it's a song that I wrote together with a friend of mine called Rhett Lawrence, who's done quite a lot of work with, you know, in major artists, Michael Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire, Barbra Streisand. He's still very young. He does a lot of Fairlight work. He uses a lot of Fairlight, a lot of exciting sounds, that's for sure. So we did this song, Betcha, and it's very funky. This one is called Top of the World. Again, this is me and David Page getting together and just being spontaneous and writing the song on the moment. And it just took a little bit of time to put down the basic track. And Steve Lukather on guitar, and Steve Porcaro was there, Mike Porcaro, Jeff Porcaro. They all got involved. Very, very fine people, really great people. And the guy that's singing along with me is a guy called Joe Williams, and he's the singer with Toto now.
Right.
Very good guy. Really, really great people to work with. This last song on side 2 is a song that really came to me. I was watching TV in London, and this tune just kind of bashed into my head, and I sort of ran out into the next room where my keyboards were, and I put it down on tape, and it stayed exactly the same until we actually transferred it to Rhett Lawrence did the arrangement for me on his Fairlight. But it's exactly the same arrangement. It's just so spontaneous that this song just popped in my head, and it was very Irish or very Celtic. And it's a song called Hurry Home, which I sort of dedicate to the Pleiadian system, the star system, you know. You know, I get carried away with all that stuff, right? Well, they're saying hurry home. That means get to know us better. Get to know the universal consciousness. Here I go again, Ed. Get to know the universal consciousness of the infinite crystal of life. And that's it.
So you haven't forsaken your cosmic notions for LA funk completely.
Oh, no.
It's all kind of...
No, it's all there. I think
yeah.
this album actually is the sort of a major pit stop for me, like, in a musical term, you know. I've sort of tried to put on one album everything that I've been doing over the years onto one album, and I hope that this is the beginning of another career, I suppose, of being able to... I've thought that if this album gets to reach a lot of people, I'm sure they'll enjoy it, and if it does well, I'll go and do another couple. You know, I like the idea of working in Los Angeles with really fine people, great musicians out there, and it just... it felt good making it, and it feels good listening to it, and I hope people enjoy it.
I hope so too. You know, happy about how it came out.
Oh yeah,
and really thrilled. So, do you have any plans now for the future of Yes? What's next for Yes, or what?
well, we're working through the end of the tour, and then we're going to Japan for a while. I think Trevor's going to make his own album, so the band will have a sort of sojourn for 3 or 4 months. Hopefully we might come back later in the year and do some concerts, maybe some outdoor arenas or something like that.
I know you told me you dreamed of...
I'd love to...
doing another JFK.
Yeah, JFK. Who knows?
Well,
Who can tell, Ed?
that was a very high point, wasn't it? June 12th, 1976.
It was, you know, and, you know, we're in the 20th year of Yes's existence, right. And it would seem fitting if we could really pull off a great show in the midsummer, late summer.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I'd still like to take Yes to China and go back to Brazil and go to Russia.
Yeah.
There is talk about maybe starting a new album later in the year, probably November, December through the beginning of next year, doing another album. We'll have to wait and see.
It'd be nice to have another one without having to wait 3 or 4 years.
Hey, come on, yeah. I think we all got a bit shell-shocked having to wait so long, you know?
Yeah.
And I think maybe the fans did as well, but believe me, the fans this time round, I've never seen such enthusiasm for the group.
Well, in a way, absence makes the heart grow fonder, perhaps.
Yeah,
you know?
it could be right.
Because when, you know, every time you go away, we're not really sure you're coming back, you know? It's like,
well,
and then when you do, we're like, whew, they came back. They did, you know? Especially the last time was such, you know, with the change, with Trevor, you had left, you came back, you know, and it was like, I mean, I was thanking, you know, Alan and Trevor because, you know, I really feel that Alan and Chris, having the fact that they stuck together, you know, after the breakup, and then they brought Trevor, and then Trevor came in with that new material and really got it going, and then you were able to come back, and it really started again. But somebody needed to get it going.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Going, yeah.
Keep it.
Well, you know, I've been in touch with Chris saying, you know, whatever you do, think
right.
about Yes. And, I remember doing a show here by myself with animation.
Yes, with King Crimson.
King Crimson, yeah. And that night I actually rang Chris and said, gosh, the audiences here do miss the band. I mean, they're enjoying me, but they miss the group, and I feel it, you know, so...
Well, that's interesting that
think about it.
That you would not let your ego get in the way of that. You know...
No, you sense something,
because,
you know?
But you know that you are, to an extent, yes, you know, that's, you were,
I'm very,
when you came
it's
back,
in
it
my
became
heart,
yes again, and,
exactly.
and everyone, you know, all the fans know that, but...
I haven't been able to let go of it, and I sincerely don't want to. I think Yes could still be making music in 10, 20 years' time. It won't be as the same as it is today. It'll be different.
Well, you know, the fact is that the show, as it is now, is really like half the new stuff and half the old stuff, but it's because you have the new stuff and can do the mechanism of the record business and the touring that we get to see the old stuff again. I mean,
exactly.
in a sense, I mean, watching Heart of the Sunrise and You and I, these 8 times that I have in the last few weeks, you know, I was very moved. I can't really explain it. I can't explain why that music moves me the way it does, but it does, and I'm very grateful that you guys are back out on the road doing it again. I don't know if you realize the way people, you know, feel.
Well, we play it with spirit, that's for sure. And the more we perform these songs, the better they are for us. They seem to generate so much energy within us that at times I'm in heaven. You know, I'm really dreaming up there, singing, and You and I really feel part of something. You know, I know it's pretty strange, but I don't think this is our music and, you know, whatever. I just feel like part of this energy, you know, and I sense it with the audience too.
You know, I don't know that I've ever. I mean, I don't know how to really ask you, but how did I mean, particularly like those moments that the you know, the moments I'm talking about in both Heart of the Sunrise and in You and I, the absolute pinnacle moments.
Yeah.
How did they come? Did they just happen in the studio, or how did they? Is it the arrangement that makes it what it is?
The arrangement. That time, many years ago, I used to listen a lot to classical music, and I realized that if you do a step-by-step approach to the arrangement, you will get to that pinnacle, that emotional pinnacle. So I would sort of not study it technically, but study it by listening, and then try to generate it to the guys in the group and say, okay, we've got so far, but we need to lift it a little bit higher. Let's change key. Let's bring in that theme that we played last, you know, a couple of times before, and join the themes together. Let's see what it sounds like. And they'd play it, and that's the way we would work. I would be more like a director. I had a vision. Collectively, we had a vision, but I was able to just see the next step because they were busy playing it and busy learning it, and I was in a very sort of lucky place. I was sort of in the driving seat at times where I could say, let's try it this way now, and then we'll take it back now, and we'll move into a more country and western sort of feeling, not actual country and western, but like a country feel.
Yeah.
And then we'll build up the piece of music again, and then I'd say to Rick, hey, you remember that little piece of music you played before? Can you play it again in another key with another sound? And then Chris, we're going to come heavy now, so you and I, let's go. Or it was you and Bill at that time when we were actually pulling it off, you know? Yeah. So, and you piece it together, and then you look at it and you think, wow, that's pretty interesting. And at the time, you really are sort of, it's a little bit like getting the scissors out and cutting pieces together and hoping that it sticks. Yeah. And eventually you start playing it on stage, and then you realize there's a sort of organic thing happening there. Yeah. And eventually you realize that musically, structurally, it works.
Did you used to play those live before you recorded them? No, you recorded them first.
We recorded them all,
and then learned how to play them live.
Yeah. That was the approximate. There was maybe 20 edits in Close to the Edge, maybe 24 or something like that. There was a lot of edits where we'd do 2 minutes here, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. And we'd edit it all together and finish it with the final picture. And it was like discovering.
Didn't it take some courage, especially when you were doing the Yes album? I mean, your first 2 albums were, you know, you certainly hadn't broken in America, and I guess you were getting known somewhat in England, but it was really the Yes album that you still were relatively unknown, and yet you went and took this step to this different structure of music.
Well, I really couldn't think twice about it. I just felt that here I was surrounded by really exceptional musicians, and let's play some games. Let's not just play safe. Let's try for some strange areas. Let's try a little bit of symphonic, gothic. I've seen all good peoples and big church organs, and because Rick was there, you see. Let's try these wild ideas, because who knows? It might work and it might not. So I'd say sometimes you'd finish up throwing 30% of your ideas into a dustbin, and then the rest would fit together and you'd feel real good about it. But I think that's to me, the greatness of being in music and being an artist, that you can paint your own picture. That's the main thing. You really can. You don't have to be... And this is anybody who makes music, or anybody who paints, or anybody who does anything artistic. You create your own thing. And the more it's your own thing, the more chance it'll survive in the great world, you know?
Well, once you did this and it was successful, you kept going, and in a way, to people who are not into the band, they sort of saw that as maybe a new formula, the art rock formula, and then they saw you doing that from then on. And the people who were into the band kept seeing the growth and the progression, certainly into Tales and so on, and figuring out new ways, but.
It was always a challenge.
You risk losing. In other words, you risk losing some people who weren't really into it.
Well, we did. There was a time in the mid-70s where we lost a lot of fans, and they've all come back, I think. I tend to think that we've gained more by being so radical. We're still around, I think if we'd have tried to play safe, we might have disbanded a bit earlier, and that was it. Because we would have all made the commercial fortune that one would expect. The record company saying, you could sell 7 million like Foreigner, why don't you do some pop music?
Well, but haven't you, in a sense, a little bit on the last two albums?
Well, eventually we realized that there was only one way to really redesign the band, and that's to go back to the origins of rock group music, which is to connect. And the way to connect is through radio, and the only way you can get on radio is to make music that's more accessible. Maybe I was just sitting down with Trevor an hour ago, and we talked about doing seriously large-scale ideas, because he's a little bit tired of it now. He wants to move and branch out.
Oh boy!
So here we go again.
And he is good.
Oh, he's brilliant.
What a real stroke of luck that you people have come together in this form.
I'm very happy about it.
So it will continue.
I hope so.
Okay, and you'll keep making the solo stuff. Good luck with the solo album.
Listen to that music, listen.
And the next album you're getting a sneak preview of.
I bet you couldn't guess that I could play tablas so fast. Listen. Actually, it's a machine, sorry. But that's me. Well, thanks very much, Ed. It's been wonderful talking to you.
As usual.
You can go now.
It's been wonderful seeing you play.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it.
And I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks very much.
Good luck with the album.
Thank you.